Now, would they say that it was a training? Maybe they would do it under the guise of paying somebody else to go do it. But I'm telling you, the white world established governments of the world are paying and training not just black people, Arabs and various others, to systematically rape boys and men as part of the military training that they're getting. And so you have men telling the stories, like the brother that told the story about this. He couldn't have sex with his wife, and his wife was so hurt she didn't know why her husband wouldn't have sex with her. She thought it was her. They went to the psychologist, and he finally came out and told the story. I was raped every day by 10 men, and there's a bunch of the men in my group in my village. This happened to all of us, and so it's hard for me to look my wife in the eye and lay with her because I feel like I'm not a man, and he can't do it. Just quite frankly, I don't think I need to really explain that real hard. But this is serious, all under this current administration. We get to September 2011. I just want to play this because I just want to make it clear. I want everybody to see how direct the disrespect and disregard for African people is. Now, keep in mind, this is the same individual who has totally capitulated to anything that the homosexuals have asked for, completely, totally capitulated to anything Israel has asked for. Anything Israel wants, Israel gets. Anything the homosexuals want, they get, and more. And even the Hispanic community, if they say they want something, he's working to make sure he cares about their interests. What does Barack Hussein Obama say when he goes before the Black Congressional Congress? Now, he's going to black folk. Let's see what he has to say now so you can hear it in his own words so you don't have to believe me. What does he have to say to us about our issues?
Dr. King once said, before we reach the majestic shores of the promised land, there is a frustrating and bewildering wilderness ahead. We must still face prodigious hilltops of opposition and gigantic mountains of resistance. But with patient and firm determination, we will press up. So I don't know about you, CBC, but the future rewards those who press on. With patient and firm determination, I'm going to press on for jobs. I'm going to press on for equality. I'm going to press on for the sake of our children. I'm going to press on for the sake of all those families who are struggling right now. I don't have time to feel sorry for myself. I don't have time to complain. I'm going to press on. I expect all of you to march with me and press on. Take off your bedroom slippers. Put on your marching shoes. Shake it off. Stop complaining. Stop grumbling. Stop crying. We are going to press on. We've got work to do. CBC, God bless you. And God bless the United States of America.
So everybody else gets their political platforms addressed. We are told to take off your slippers, put on your marching shoes, stop complaining, and stop grumbling. Just take it. Bend over and take it, which is what they're literally physically making people around the world do. So at the same time that's occurring, don't forget now, in that same year, 2011, the invasion of Libya and the murder of Muammar Gaddafi, and this is very important for our discussion, not just the murder of Muammar Gaddafi, but he was sodomized with a stick. And that was put out before the world to see what resistance to this new world order and this new, this administration and this world government administration is going to do. If you disagree with us, if you fight us, this was going to happen to you. And they made sure they sent it public, international, so they could see this man being sodomized. A 7-year-old man. Now, I'm no fan of Arabs anywhere, but I have to say, if there's one Arab that was doing something, whether it was for us or not, but that benefited black people, Muammar Gaddafi was doing some real things that benefited Africa. Whether or not he was doing it from African people or not, it's not really that important in the sense of it was benefiting us at the moment. He definitely would not have been the country that if an African had to say what country should be overthrown and its leader murdered and sodomized, that would not have been Muammar Gaddafi. Not that we want anybody to be sodomized, but the point being, this is what that administration did. At the same time, many of us don't know and weren't paying attention. In April 2011, U.S. fires at Ivory Coast forces. So you had a brother in Ivory Coast who was obviously a threat to the white world establishment order of whatever they wanted to be occurring, and they actually went in and supported the overthrow of an elected official who had the interests of Ivory Coast for the people, obviously on some level. And so we see a military seizure of African continent, not just some thoughts about it, but actually the physical assaults on these African places. Now, it's very important when I talk about Libya to say something, because for the brothers and sisters who are ultra nationalistic and like Muammar Gaddafi's an Arab, I don't care what happens to the Arabs, they destroyed African people. Yeah, but how about this though? This will mean something to you. Yes, Muammar Gaddafi is an Arab, but there were the original African inhabitants had regions of Libya where they lived in relative peace. Yes, they're not in rulership. Yes, they should be, but in relative peace. Would you believe, and it's true, it's documented on the internet, so you can just go look at this for yourself, that the same individuals that the United States government and the European governments funded to go and overthrow Muammar Gaddafi, and the ones that they gave air support so that they could overthrow his government, kill him and sodomize him, that these same individuals have systematically gone throughout Libya, rounding up black people, raping and torturing and mutilating black women, forcing black men to eat flags and then castrating and murdering them and hanging them. Systematic Ku Klux Klan style genocide. We're talking about tens of thousands of Libyans. I'm talking about Africans who live in Libya. These are African people. Some of them from Nigeria, some of them from different Niger, different Chad, different African countries who are trying to get to different countries. And then the original Libyan Africans being systematically murdered by this group. It's on the internet and it's on YouTube, so it's public information, public domain information. It's not like this is happening in secret and I'm telling you something. If you put in black Libyans being murdered, I mean, so much information will come on that it will be no question about the fact that it's known. And this is the groups that are being supported by this administration and by your friend Barack Obama. I want you to understand, open your mind up. These are black people, so this could be your baby, just living in a different place. These are black people like you and me, trying to live their lives, who they're being supported and funded, these Arabs, to murder and maim these black people. And they're taping when they're maiming and murdering these black people so that the world can see. And this government is the one that supports them in doing this. So if you're a black person that's Pan-Africanist, you are the most ridiculous person in the world to call yourself a Pan-Africanist and not be outraged at this administration for the support of the genocide of black people. I ain't even talking about the Arabs. I'm not talking about Muammar Gaddafi. I mean the Africans who live there being systematically eradicated. It's unspeakable, unthinkable crimes that are occurring. I'm just going to read this part of this article right here, and then we're going to go to our phone lines. This article just came out Tuesday, July 31st. So this is a very fresh article. It's in the Washington Examiner. It's an offshoot of the Washington Post. It's a free paper you get in Washington, D.C. The title, Obama's Adventures in Africa. Recent United Nations report notes that U.S. military drones flights over Somalia are now frequent enough to endanger local air traffic, calling Africa the new frontier in terms of counterterrorism and counter-narcotics. The DEA, Drug Enforcement Administration, has begun training paramilitary drug warrior teams in Ghana and plans to expand the program to Nigeria and Kenya. In other words, the U.S. government is creating, listen to their terms, paramilitary drug warrior teams. In other words, thugs out of the street that are going to get paid to go around and murder black people. Meanwhile, the Obama administration is considering intervention in the West African nation of Mali, where al-Qaeda-inspired Islamist rebels have seized territory in the north. The insurgents are a looming threat. All options are being considered. In other words, wherever there are black people who have a sense of consciousness and nationalism, in order for this European invasion to occur properly, they're going to kill them. So in all these regions that you hear, these are places, Somalia, that have a nationalistic, we are black, we're independent, we're Somalian, we're whatever country we're from, we're African, we won't allow whites to come in and tell us how to rule. They're just being systematically waged war upon, and it's being done in public. 4 years ago, few would have predicted that one of President Obama's legacies would be increased militarization of U.S. policy towards Africa. But that is the case. So the article goes on to just talk about just how it's full scale warfare being, the Obama administration has sent troops into all these different African regions, the Congo, under the guise of going to get Coney, all of this stuff that they're promoting to go out and kill black people. This is going on all around the world internationally. So just so you have an understanding of who and what we're dealing with. And while this is happening, my last thing I'll say before we go to our phone line, so hang on, I just want to make sure that we got the record straight. Right now, as we speak, Hillary Clinton has gone throughout the African continent, country to country, basically telling them, listen, you will accept homosexuality or you will be having to deal with us. Meaning it's a pure, direct threat for African nations that there's an absolute necessity for African nations to accept homosexuality, which is really eugenics and racial genocide. And all of those countries that are fighting it are now under siege, with the Secretary of State going country to country telling them, look, you're going to accept. I mean, she has a whole, all you have to do is put in Hillary Clinton promoting gay rights in Africa. You can find as much information as you want about it. I mean, it's not being hidden. This is not hidden information. You're just getting a good perspective of it right here on One Horizon. So with that said, brothers and sisters, this is under the Obama administration. The Obama nation is now seizing the African continent to promote homosexuality, promoting homosexuality among black people in America, so much so that the local black pastors, that a national coalition of black pastors have come together and said, we are going to boycott Obama and not vote for him because he's trying to promote homosexuality. And they've even mentioned pedophilia to the black community. They're saying by promoting homosexuality to our people, it's going to increase the likelihood of children being sexually abused. These are their words. So it's even got through to the Christian Negroes who at one time had all this hope and open eyes for Obama. Everyone now is realizing that this individual, I'm just going to say it, this is the worst Mobutu race trading Uncle Tom in the history of America. Worse than Barrett Rustin. The only thing to challenge that is he's not really an Uncle Tom because he ain't black. He's a mulatto. So he came out the womb of his white mother and he act like the womb of his white mama. But outside of that reality, brothers and sisters, this is the worst, most abominable, unbelievable individual in terms of his hatred and brutality against African people that has blackish, he not black, but blackish skin that we have ever encountered. So that would be our position here on One Horizon. But of course, this show ain't for us. We talking about a trial of martyrs. This is a trial. That's the case we made, but we want to go to the phone lines and hear what your case will be. So brothers and sisters who are tuned in, the lines are lit up. We're going to come to the lines. Everybody's going to get a chance to say what you want to say, how you want to say it. Only rules we have here is that we do not allow the N-word in any way, shape, or form for any reason, for any explanation. So don't even think about using it to try to make an explanation or proper context. It's just not used here. But anything else you want to say about this? If you like the guy, make your observation and points. If you don't like the guy, make your observation and points. But I think we've laid out the case. I think, it's obvious, and now it's going to come to you. So dial in number 760-569-7676. Again, that's 760-569-7676. The participation code, 948-656-pound. That's 948-656-pound.